Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Hustle and Highlight, the podcast. We are here with Wanda from Infusion Health and Wellness. She is actually doing my very first infusion IV right now. And so she does IVs and what would you call those? Injections?
And she comes to you. So
Yeah.
a mobile
A
IV
which is so
infusion
convenient.
clinic thing.
Yes.
All right, Wanda, tell us about yourself.
So I have been a registered nurse for 35 years. And I graduated from Samuel Merritt School of Nursing in Oakland and St. Mary's College in Moraga. And I'd always wanted to be a nurse. And I just sat out on, I wanted to be a surgical nurse. Like that was going to be fun,
That
you know.
sounds fun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then I got in there and it was just the doctors yelling at the nurses because they weren't handing them the right instruments.
That's not fun.
And you had to memorize like 400 instruments. And I remember standing in there going, the patient's out. I never got to interact with the patient at all.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, this isn't what I want to do.
Yeah.
So kind of decided I wanted to go into like cardiac, ICU, ER. So I started a new grad program at Sutter Solano for 2 years on night shift and floated to the ER, ICU, kind of started going on to the trauma team. I decided I wanted to fly.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah. But you can't fly if you're like within the first year of having a child. And every time I get accepted on the flight team, I get pregnant. So I was like, okay, God,
That
you
was
don't
a
want me to
sign.
fly,
Yeah.
right? So then I just kept working. So I put in about 17 years at Kaiser, retired from Kaiser, and went back into home health, where I initially kind of started after doing the hospital work and having the kids because I could work and take them to school and be, you know, cupcake mom and go on field trips and still work. So I did that. And so when I retired from Kaiser, I went back into home health. And in the last about 9 years of doing home health, what I'm realizing, so I was running the agencies for a while, and then the last couple of years I stepped down because I got tired of working for somebody else. Like, so I'm running the agency, it's all on my license, I'm responsible for everything, but yet I have these people up here going, don't do that or do this. And,
Right.
you know, it's usually about the money.
Right.
And it's like a constant fight. And then I'm trying to support the low, you know, the all the staff under me. And I'm a clinician by heart. So I'm kind of 100% supportive of my staff, not of the bureaucracy and you know, all the stuff like that. So I got burnt out and I just decided I want to be a regular nurse again. And I stepped down and I started working in the field about 3 years ago. And in the last 3 years, I feel like all my patients at home, I'm sending them into the ER when they start getting critical, whether they're congestive heart failure, dehydration, whatever. They get to the ER, they get a bag of fluids, some electrolytes, and they send them back home. And I have a lot of patients who can't afford that. You know, it costs thousands of dollars to go to the emergency room. They're complaining they're sitting there 6 to 8 hours before they even get in, which we know is a big problem. Because maybe they just need some hydration, or maybe they just need hydration and a few vitamins or something. They're not doing vitamins in the ER, but what I'm finding is the wait time, a bag of fluid, and them getting sent home. And sometimes they go in ambulance. So we could be looking at like a $5,000-$6,000 bill. And I was thinking
at
one day,
least.
I could just start an IV and give them a bag of fluid at home.
Right.
But the California regulations don't allow us really to do that. There's this whole umbrella of stuff you have to do in order for a patient to get an IV at home. And it really has to be like antibiotics, like IV antibiotics for a 6-month period. They come home with really bad infections. I do those all day long.
Wow.
But yet I can't just start an IV on a patient and give them a bag of fluid and give them some
Yeah.
vitamin B and, you know, and I was like, there's got to be a way to do this. And so I started looking into it. And I was like, that'd be fun, right? I had no idea this thing was like wild in Vegas and wild in LA and that
Right.
people have been doing this since like 2012.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few.
I had no
In
idea. I'm like,
Arizona, yeah, that thing
right?
brought
I think
me
it's
back
my
to
own
life.
little idea, right? Yeah. So I started looking into it and I was like, oh my God, that'd be great. And then I could start my own business and, you know.
Well, and you have a lot of like other nurses, friends and stuff like to work under you. So
Yeah.
it works out.
So I have this friend, Katie, and I called Katie and her and I had kind of been talking about this at one point, but I told her, like, I think we need to look into this more. And she's like, oh, yeah, we need to do this. Like, Wanda, it's taking off and it's not here. So let's go for it. So I started doing some research and I was like, oh my God, you have to pay a medical director. So as an RN, in order to even do it in a spa, you have to have a medical director over you. And sometimes they have to be present. You have to have a hood to compound. There's like a lot. Then you got to have the attorneys and all the protocols and all the legal. Then you got to get your insurance. So after looking at something that would cost probably 10 grand a month just to do in a one little tiny room salon, and that might be undercutting.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a bag of fluid for $100. Like,
Right.
how are we going to make money? So I called Katie. I'm like, forget it. This is too much. She's like, Wanda, there's got to be a way. Like, there's people doing it everywhere.
Right.
And I was like, you're right. But, what I found was a lot of these people knew physicians that wanted to support them, or they had the money. A lot of people have access to money and they just invest it. And I was like, I don't have that kind of money. I don't have $25,000 to invest. I didn't realize until I was well into this that you can do small business loans, and that might have been the way to do it, right? To just boom, go big. But so I kind of gave up. I really did. I was
Yeah.
like,
It's discouraging when you figure all that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is she doing it? How does she run a salon?
Right.
How is he doing that tattoo parlor? How is, I'm looking at all these people, like, how are they doing it? Too scared to go ask you. Like, all right, Amber,
I'm an open book. Ask me all the things.
you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the reality of a woman in business going to another woman who is in a successful business, and I didn't know you, I knew of you through Aaliyah. I'm watching her grow in her profession, but I didn't know. So, hindsight,
Yeah.
it would be good to just go to other women business owners and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Give me
Right.
some insight. Give me some, there's a lot that will, but there's also a lot of competition.
Oh, yeah.
Another nurse who's doing this business really doesn't want you to know the ins and outs, because then you're going to do the business and you're going to take some of her clientele.
There's clients for everybody.
I mean, there's so many. Yeah.
Yes,
So many
you would
people.
think. But in the IV industry, it's a little different
Yeah.
as far as who offers it and then the pricing. I mean, I'm sure it's with hair and makeup and everything
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I wasn't really, I think it was more me, just out of a comfort level of afraid to go ask people, So I don't know. It was like 6-7 months later. It was still in my heart. It was still something I really wanted to do for my patients. And I was going through like Instagram or something, and I saw this Instagram about this infusion company out of Vegas, and it's called Hydrate. And so I looked into them, and they actually have the legal team, the doctors, the pharmacy. They do all that. So for a membership fee, you can join them and you can do it mobile. And I was like,
Oh, okay.
You're like, this is just makes my life so much easier.
So
I was
much
like, this
easier.
is too good to be true.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I contacted them, and here I am. Like,
Awesome.
I joined the membership and just went for it. And I
Yeah.
called Katie, and I'm like, oh my God, you'll never believe it. I found this company and they have everything we want. And so underneath the business is set up so that I could have another RN business own with me, which Katie and I found that really hard to like break up. Like it's kind of easier for me to just run it. And then she's like my right-hand man.
Yeah.
And then have 4 or 5 other RNs underneath us that can help us. And that's kind of how the business is set up.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
They made
after
it
you
so
found
easy.
out Hydrate and stuff, so like walk us through like someone that I know how it works, and so does Amber now because she did it, in the last couple days. But how does that work? Like as far as a new guest coming in, like what do they expect to like get going with you or?
Yeah, so if you called me and were interested and we talk about like what your needs are, what you want, I would have you download the Hydrate app on your phone, and then you create a client account and you put in your information, you do a basic medical screening, and then you choose what bag you want,
Perfect.
which
So
hopefully
easy.
we've talked about, right?
Yeah.
Because I kind of know what's good for you and what you're
Right.
looking for. Maybe you want the beauty bag. Maybe you want immunities because you're not feeling well. A lot of elderly people, they just need hydration once every other week, or just a basic bag of fluid, which you're getting now, and it's running really fast. So we might have to slow that thing down or we'll be done in 10 minutes. And then you just pick what bag you want, you put your credit card in and you create a medical consult by doing that. You have, when you do a medical consult, you're a first time customer or a client of mine, you need to have a medical consult for screening just to make sure you don't have anything crazy that we miss.
Right.
And then once you do the consult, that's $25 charge. And then that is good for 6 months. You can get any IV bag or injection or NAD or semaglutide or anything through me for the next 6 months.
Awesome.
Yep.
Easy.
And then from then on, you just go on there and say, book a service. You pick what time you want, you book it, and we're usually there within 24 hours.
And your consult is via FaceTime with the practitioner, correct?
A physician comes on the phone, usually within 15 minutes. There's, I have medical doctors all day long. There's a bunch in California that work for us.
Okay.
So they just pick up, talk to you. They want to see your face. They want to know I'm not just making stuff up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they screen you. And if they pick up something on the medical screening that we did, like maybe you said you had cancer, they're going to say, where was it? How long ago? Are you in remission? The basic IVs are all fine. But when we get into NAD, we don't want to be giving that to somebody who has history of cancer or cancer in their immediate family.
Okay.
And then semaglutide, that's a whole other program, which I'd love to talk about.
Let's talk about it. So,
What are all the things you offer?
Ooh, we offer a lot. So you can get basic IV hydration, and it has electrolytes in it. And let's say you don't want electrolytes for some reason, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but you could ask for like a normal saline bag, and we can do that too. Then we have vitamin B Plex. We have vitamin B12. We have vitamin C, glutathione, lysine, biotin. So basically, we have all your intracellular vitamins that people take by mouth. I mean, I'm not cinnamon and garlic and things like that, but the B3s, the B6, you'd have to take 7 different B vitamins to get one of my injections that I put through your IV. I give them all at one time in 1 ml. But if you take them by mouth, it's about, I don't know, maybe $100 worth of vitamins you've purchased to take one a day. And then by taking it by mouth, it goes to your gut. Depending on your ability to absorb vitamins, you may not get but 1/4 of that B3. Then it has to go through the rest of your system to get into your bloodstream. We're injecting these directly into your bloodstream. So it almost forces the B vitamins to push into your blood cells and therefore be highly therapeutic and do the work they need to do intracellularly.
Yeah.
You cannot do that by taking vitamins by mouth.
Right.
I'm not putting vitamins by mouth down. I think there's a lot of good ones. And I think for people who don't feel comfortable doing IVs, or maybe it's a financial thing, they feel better just taking the B3 or B12 by mouth. But I guarantee you it's 75% more effective when you're
Right.
doing it IV or injection.
Right.
And
That
so
makes
I
sense.
think I went around your question. I want to go back to what you asked.
Yeah, as far as what you offer. So
Oh, yeah. So we have all the different vitamins. We even offer things like folic acid for people who are sick. We have magnesium sulfate, which kind of calms the muscles, the vascular system. People that have hangovers are a little jittery sometimes, also have a headache, so we can treat the headache with ketorolac. We do Zofran for nausea. We have prenatal women who are having that vomiting every single day. If their OBGYN allows it, which they usually do, we can do the Zofran, so that prevents them from having that nausea and vomiting. And then we have the whole weight loss program. So I do offer semaglutide. It's a compounded form. And that's a whole nother program. So what I would do is you would call me. We can talk about it. How much weight do you want to lose? I would draw your blood. I actually have your lab values reviewed to make sure we don't have any problems with your liver, things like that. And then we create a dose that's right for you. I also then do coaching regarding your weight loss, exercise, diet, and check-ins every single week. And in those check-ins, a lot of people on semaglutides might have like, oh, they're tired. They're finding that they're more tired because their body is kicking butt. The metabolism is kicking butt. But you're also not eating as much. So maybe you're not getting all the vitamins you need. Maybe you have a little nausea. Maybe, depending on what's going on.
Ozempic dupe, correct?
So
Like, how would you cut?
It's a GLP-1,
Okay.
which is similar to the Ozempics and trizepatide and all the other brand name drugs you hear.
Got it.
But it's a compounded formula.
Okay.
So it doesn't have a brand name like those, and we are
Right.
not allowed to be giving those drugs. That's a medical prescription for diabetics.
Right.
Yeah.
Really. I see a lot of stuff going on online.
Yeah, I have
So do
some
we.
questions about this. So I have had a few clients sit in my chair more recently, and they've been doing this, whatever you want to call it, Ozempic or something similar to it. And all of them are like forgetting to eat. Obviously, it's a huge hunger suppressant, right? Like these people just aren't hungry. They don't have the want, or like they don't even think about eating anymore, right? So some of them they'd be like, "Oh, my daughter reminds me to eat," and I'm like, "That is so freaking horrible because how is your body
That's
getting
sad.
any nutrients? Like, yes, you might be losing weight, but now you're nutrient deficient, and in turn, like because we do hair, like your hair is falling out." And you think it's like,
Our fault.
yeah, no, literally.
You're
like,
not
this
giving
is
me the
something-
right cut or color or something, right?
This is something that is like happening in the salon. Like these people are on these Ozempic type drugs or whatever you want to call it. And long story short, a lot of them are losing a lot of their hair with their weight. Like your weight's going, but so is your hair, and all kinds of things are happening. So can you speak on that a little bit? Like if someone were to take something like this and are they losing their hair because they're nutrient deficient, or are they losing their hair because it's a side effect of this?
That's a wonderful question.
And I love that you offer the like touching like every week check-ins and like their weight, like what they
Right,
eat, their
yeah, so
nutrients,
they're
all that
not
stuff.
just
Because I
going
feel
in
like
blind.
that's helpful. I feel
Okay.
like a lot of the bigger
So you guys
brands
are
don't
smart.
do that.
You're knowledgeable about health and wellness,
Yes.
and you in your industry, and as a person, you may be very interested in that. So you've done
Totally.
your research. You read about your vitamins. You don't. Do you know how many people that are overweight that just want a solution?
Yeah,
and
they
they
don't
are
care.
going for, oh my God, I can get it for $50 over here. I'm ordering it. It's easy to inject, and off I go.
Yeah,
That's
terrifying.
That's awful.
Okay, but to them,
How
right?
is that so?
But they're losing 10 pounds a month. What is so terrible about that, right? So you got to think of the mindset of people.
Clients say that someone has gotten like a colostomy bag because of it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so I love talking about poop.
It's terrifying.
Like I'm a nurse and I love talking about poop. So let's get
You're
to
in
that.
the right industry then.
Yes. I mean, I don't like poop. Don't get me wrong, but
You could tell a lot about someone's health by their poop. Yes.
you can.
Totally.
So so let's back up to what you said.
Yeah. Please.
It
let's
knocks
touch
out your
on that.
appetite for two reasons, because it's a receptor and it acts on that appetite, but it also stimulates the brain to not be hungry. So there's a couple things that this drug does to help you, to prevent you from wanting to overeat or eat too much. But what it can do is knock out that appetite. So some people are more sensitive to it. I have clients who are still hungry on it.
Okay.
And sometimes they're like, I don't have, I'm not on the right dose. And I'm like, you are actually very lucky that you're still hungry, because there's a lot of clients that just don't want to eat.
Yeah, that's scary.
So that's where the coaching comes in. So I would call you, because after the first couple days, I'm always like, how do you feel? How did the injection go? What's changed? And my clients are like, Wanda, I'm not hungry. Like I'm forcing myself to eat. And I'm like, are you forcing yourself? And what is it you're forcing to eat?
Right.
Are you forcing yourself to eat some French fries or a chicken nugget because your kid was eating chicken nuggets? So before we even start this program, when I sit down with you and we do an eval, we talk about how you already eat. If you already eat like crap, that's going to be a problem with me getting you not only to change the way you eat, but now eating healthy.
And do you find that most of these people already eat like crap? Because, I mean, the whole reason why these people are interested in this is because they're overweight.
True.
Do you find
but you
most
have
of
two
them
kind of
are
clients. You
unhealthy?
have those clients that eat poorly, don't work out, don't exercise, they don't have a healthy lifestyle. But you have the other ones that have other issues that they are unable to lose weight.
Like thyroid?
Yes,
Okay.
or not so much medical, but a lot of people, no matter how much they try, how hard, they just have a harder time losing the weight.
Okay.
So I don't want to say that they eat bad. I've had so many clients that are overweight, and when I do a diet history, I'm like, they eat 10 times better than I do. And
So would
they
you say that's
still have
like
trouble putting on losing
genetic
weight.
or
So
hormonal
it's
or
metabolism,
thyroid?
right? If your
Yeah.
metabolism's slow, you're not burning those calories like somebody like me who's running around, my metabolism's high, right?
Right.
Your body internally, even though you're still moving, is more sedentary, right?
Is
It's
that- why
sluggish
is that?
internally. It's just your makeup,
Interesting.
right? It's genes, it's genetics.
Okay.
Or maybe it's absorption. So the food you eat isn't absorbed properly. So you're not getting the B vitamins and your B12 that help with digestion and absorption and energy, metabolism. Like
Okay.
your body is a complex, all this catalyst and all these things happen. I mean, I have books and books on how one vitamin goes through your system and works, or how you eat it and how that works. And it's complex. And I'm not a chemistry major. I didn't do well in that class. I don't memorize every single thing I heard.
Yeah.
I just have a basic understanding of it, you know?
Yeah.
But you have people that just have a harder time, you
Yeah.
know? And I have personal friends and family that fit that picture as well. So I see their struggle. So when I heard about this, you know, the semaglutides and that I could offer them, it really made me happy because I feel like I get to watch people actually get to lose some weight that they've never been able to lose and feel good about themselves.
Totally.
Right?
Such a
Yeah.
rewarding feeling.
It is. And it's rewarding when you have people that are coming to you saying, okay, if I'm going to spend this much money on this, I'm going to give everything I have to make this work. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, you know, people that have felt that same energy and positivity and they join the gym and they start working out every day, but they really haven't changed how they've eaten and they're not losing that weight. In a month or two of doing that, you're like, screw this. I ain't got,
Yeah.
The gym is not an easy workout. It's not an easy habit to get into. It takes dedication. You got to show up and then you got to kind of know what you're doing because you could just go walk on the treadmill and
But
not
food
burn
is
hardly
80%
any
of it,
calories.
isn't it?
And then the food is the other part. Right? And so I like to think that you shouldn't do this alone at all. But even the doctors, they order it, they send the clients home. They're not checking in on them every single week. They're not saying, oh, Amber, okay, so what did you eat this week? Well, I had this orange, and sometimes I'll eat some crackers just to, you know, have, and
That's
then I'll
wild.
say to you, okay, great.
Crazy.
Let's talk about what's in that orange. Let's talk about what's in those
Yeah.
crackers, right?
Right.
And
Like
then
what benefits you're getting from your food.
yeah, but I usually start this before you even start the medication. Let's not wait until you haven't eaten for a week and
Then you
calm
start
down.
an eating disorder.
And now we're having, right? We'll get to the poop. Don't let me
Yeah.
forget about the poop.
Oh, I'm not.
So
Alrighty.
we're gonna sit down and we're gonna talk about what you want out of this. How much weight do you want to lose? How do you eat? Let's do a diet log, right? Let's see
Okay.
what that looks like. If you have a pretty good diet, that's great. So if you were to start losing your appetite, what foods are we going to be eating? And we take that diet log because it's already stuff you eat, and we pick out the higher calorie or the more filling foods,
The more
healthy
nutrient-dense
foods.
food. Okay.
Yeah. And if there's, let's say on your log, I realize that you really are lacking B12 already, I'm going to suggest that we do a B12 injection on you once a week just to give you that extra so that you don't get deficient of that. Let's act proactively and not wait till it happens.
Why do you think doctors are just giving this out to people and sending them on their way like it's nothing? Like they're just
Honestly,
Money?
because it works. It's
Yeah.
what the patient wants.
Right.
It works.
But then it's like you're
Right?
rapidly losing all this weight and then you have more issues later. Right? Do you not from being so like malnourished for this amount of time and
Absolutely.
like
I mean,
shocks your body essentially, right? Losing all that weight in such a little time.
so you can lose 10 pounds a month. You can lose 2 pounds, 2 to 3 pounds a month, usually. I mean, a week, sorry, on the semaglutides. But that can be healthy weight loss because your metabolism is sped up, right?
Okay.
But if you're eating the right nutrients, like you said.
Yeah.
Okay. let's talk about the poop. That's another big thing.
Yeah.
You should be having a bowel movement at least every day, if not every other day, right?
Right.
This is a very
Right.
constipating medication. So
Well, yeah, I would
it causes
assume
you to
so.
get backed up.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're not eating the high fiber foods because they're filling. And so your brain is almost avoiding the higher fiber foods because you're already full and you're not wanting to eat that stuff, but yet you're on a medication that's constipating. So it can keep you from having a bowel movement. If you're not drinking enough fluid on this medicine, if you're not eating the right foods, and my clients I make them get fiber and protein powder before we even start this journey.
Yeah.
So I know they're getting enough protein. I know they're drinking at least 1 or 2 doses of fiber
they're
a day
still somewhat
so that they
regular.
can still move
Yeah.
and process that food.
Yeah.
That's not happening, I don't think. And I mean, I don't know. I'd be interested in anybody that's ordering this stuff online or that their friend says, oh, I can get you some.
That's
Right?
so are people just
Black
ordering this
market
on
or something?
Amazon or what? Like, I don't understand.
Yes, you can go. Well, so I'm in the business, right?
Yeah.
You know what happens when you're in a business? The algorithm and when you're Instagramming. So I get all the ads because they think I'm looking for semi-glutides when I'm actually offering them. So I'm getting one after another. I've got, I don't want to throw names out, but
Right.
you've seen the Henrys and you've seen and I'm not going to talk bad about them because I don't know how they're mixing their drugs.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you this. I want to know a pharmacist has compounded my semaglutide. I want to know it's coming from a legit pharmacy that's licensed and that's going directly to me and not going to a salon where you're pulling out or any other place that does this.
Right.
Where they're pulling out of a bottle that I don't know is specifically mine. You're pulling out medication that you've been using for other clients as well. I don't feel good about that. I want to know that's compounded for me.
Specifically.
Right.
Sure.
And used only for me.
Yeah.
And I want to pay the right amount based on if I pay for that medication, that's my bottle. So if I'm only using a certain amount of that every single week, that bottle should last me longer.
Right.
Right? So if I can get 8 shots out of a bottle, but you're having me buy a bottle a month, I
Every
don't
time,
realize, I could have had 4 more shots out of that bottle. So people think they're getting a great deal because they're buying from certain companies. But there's a lot more fluid and milliliters in that bottle that you're paying for that you could be using that you don't realize because you don't have it in hand and you're not the one giving yourself those shots out of that bottle.
Right.
Right? That's if you're doing it like online, off market, black market, or a friend gave you their bottle. I can't tell you how many friends tell me, Wanda, how much is your semaglutide? And I'll tell them and they'll be like, oh, okay, thanks, bye. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Are you doing it already? And they're like, yeah, I can get it for like $25 a shot.
Oh my God.
And then I'm like, where are you getting it? Well, Susie had some and she lost the weight she wanted. She had some extra, so she gave me hers.
Right.
And I'm like, and you've already been using this? Like, tell me you haven't started using this. Oh, yeah. It's funny because your guys' reaction is like, oh,
well, this is very similar to like when we tell people our extension prices. They're like, oh, I can go get it for cheaper. I'll just order them on Amazon. And
Or
it's
can
like,
you install this hair that I have,
from the Halloween store in my head? You're like, no, it's plastic. But they still want it because it's cheaper, which is wild to me because then it's like the end result doesn't match what they're trying to achieve.
As far as extensions goes, like if the hair comes from an outer source, we don't guarantee it, so we won't install it. Yeah. Because then if
sounds
something
like
happens,
similar.
you have to pay for it.
You coming to me and going, I want you to help me with this, but I'm going to use these bottles I got offline from Sam's semaglutide program or whatever, right?
And you're like, I'm not going to help you with that because I don't know what that is.
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it also baffles me that we have other nurses in this industry that have no problem doing that.
Yeah.
And it's
looking
real.
to make a quick buck, or are they just trying to help a friend out? Like, I don't
know.
I don't understand how someone could like inject somebody with essentially a foreign substance that they have no idea what the hell it is. That's so scary.
I know. So, I guess I'm going to say this. So having started this business, I want to help people especially your friends. They call you and they're like, oh my gosh, you're doing this.
Yeah.
Can you come over? I'm feeling sick. I want an immunity bag. I have an RN license I worked really hard for. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life was becoming a
Yeah.
nurse.
That's rough.
I have 35 years of experience. The last thing I want to do is lose my license.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
It can take one bad shot, one person, whether you know them or not. And trust me, the ones you know sometimes
Are the worst ones.
They're the ones
it can
sometimes.
happen.
Totally.
Well, you think, oh, this is fine. And that is the one that is going to turn on you, call an attorney and say, this is what happened. And they're going to come in and tear your business apart. They're going to audit
Revoke
you,
your
go through all
license.
your stuff. I mean, I've worked at an executive director level. I know this happens. I pray to God that never happens to you, me, or anybody else who's trying to run a business.
Yeah.
However, we're responsible for running that business legitimately. So I have protocols for every single thing I do. I have to follow that protocol to a T in order to have my medical support and my attorneys and my legal coverage, right? So the nurses that are willing to do this, I question, like, yeah, it'd be cool if I had 40 more clients coming to my house every day for their semaglutide and their IVs. I mean, I could quit my day job. Look, I'm still working full-time as a home health nurse.
Right.
And I'm still consulting on the side and trying to start up this business and run it. I would love to not have to do all that. I would love to be going around town, visiting, taking people to lunch, getting more
Totally.
clientele and marketing because I love marketing.
Yeah.
And I love talking to people and developing relationships and where that takes the business. But I don't have that time. So I would love that. So yeah, I would like to not have to have you get on the phone. As you can see, we haven't had your consult yet, right? But we're going to have it. But there's glitches in everything.
Yeah.
It's not just I walk in, start an IV, and we're good to go.
Right.
I got to medically screen you. I got to make sure you're not having reactions. I need to have my Benadryl and my Epi here in case you start showing me you're having a reaction. I got to think quick and on my feet and prevent something from happening.
Right.
Right? It's not as easy as it sounds, but you're turning people away when you do that and you have less clients.
Right.
Right?
Is that
Word of mouth
because-
is the most powerful thing, though.
Yeah.
I feel like just even starting like doing the tattoo shop stuff and like the little pop up things, those are like
Huge.
tremendous for a business.
Yeah.
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 And so in the IV business, like, I really had my sights. Like when I first started doing this, I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a bus. And we're going to vamp it out. We're going to have
Cute.
recliners in it. It's going to have
Yes.
air conditioner. We're going to pull up at these Nike marathon races. And we're going to have runners running right into our bus and being like, do it. Like,
Yeah.
hydrate me after running 12
Yeah.
or 24 miles. And I just had this huge, like I said, I love marketing and stuff. And I have a boyfriend who's in sales and he thinks like that too. Marketing, sales, growing business. So we had these great ideas, right? In order for me to have that bus and have 22 clients be walking on it, I need 2 other nurses helping me start those IVs, which is no big deal. But I have to do a medical consult on every one. It takes 40 minutes to run an IV. If they want, right, the aminos that help with muscle recovery, if they want the B-plexes because they just depleted their system of everything they've eaten for the last couple days.
Yes.
I have to push all those because I'm in the state of California and mobile IV nurses cannot throw 40 drugs in that bag and let you sit here and get them all.
Yeah.
I have to do each one individually because our regulations in California for mobile IV, I have to push everything.
Right.
So I would have to sit with you for 45 minutes. How am I going to manage 15 or 20 other clients if I do that?
Right.
So this big dream I had is like now, whew, okay, let's just start one at a time, right? I did a event at a gym, and even that, I was so nervous because I'm like, what if 7 people walk up and want an IV?
Yeah.
So I had another nurse there to back me up. I had my boyfriend learn how to be my receptionist so he could log everybody in and get their medical
awesome.
consults.
Yeah.
I had 2 friends there for backup in case they just needed to keep people, conversing.
Right.
Because if somebody's standing there waiting for 45 minutes, they're going to walk away.
Sure. Yeah. Everyone wants something so instant now too. You really have to
Yes.
like keep that in mind. But the people who want integrity and quality and they actually care about what's going into their
They
body,
stick
they'll
around.
stay.
And those are my clients.
Yeah, exactly.
And those are the ones that call back.
yeah.
They know what they're doing for their body. They know how important it is, I was reading, I have a couple great books, and I'm just going to throw them out because I think if you're interested in something like this, you should do your research.
Yeah.
Totally.
You shouldn't rely. I can't tell you, and Aaliyah's famous for this, and so is her mother.
Oh no.
Dun, dun,
What
dun.
is it?
I'm not feeling too great. Come over, and I'll come over, and we'll talk about what bag we're giving. And they really are like, Wanda, I trust you. Just give me what
Yeah.
you think I need.
Right.
And as much as I love that means the world to me. I really want them to understand what they're getting and what that means to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But with our busy lives and what we're doing, who knows? I mean, she doesn't have time with all she's doing to learn about intercellular health and to read this entire book on vitamins and to read this entire Bible on NAD and 10
I
other
would love
I
to
want
read
that.
those.
I want that one.
Both of them, please.
Well, so that's why I brought them, because if you're interested and you're at the point where you guys are, these are amazing
Yeah.
books to read, right? But it's a funny thing, the vitamized health. The doctor that wrote this, Dr. Stephen Petruti, he says at some point in there, think of your body like a tree, okay? You know when we have a really bad windstorm and trees or branches fall over?
Yeah.
Those are because they're dead already. Those trees are not healthy. They're
Right.
dead. That's why they're blowing over. It's just like your body.
They're
right?
dehydrated.
The trees that are still standing and growing have good roots. They have good nutrition. They ain't going anywhere. I don't care how hard the wind blows, right? So what we need to remember with intercellular health is, our medicine today, and I can vouch for this because I just got a new doctor. And he wanted to see me, and he's a young guy, and I come in and I start laying some of my problems on him. I'm not telling him that
That you're in the
that I'm managing them my way, which
Yeah.
is intercellular health. But I tell him, I'm in menopause, I'm 60. I don't sleep well at night. I have hot flashes all the time. I'm starting to feel my age. I can't do my workout like I used to. Things are declining and I can feel it. What are we going to do about this? The first thing he says is, well, we have a medication to help you sleep. We have a medication for the, and he's listing off all these drugs. He got to the fourth one and I said, stop. So let's start over. Without giving me drugs, what can we do about my intercellular health? And
Right.
he looked
How
at
do we
me like,
fix the problem?
what did you say?
He's like, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I'm used to people that don't know what they're talking about.
Right, I was just going to take those drugs and marry out my way,
And that's
right?
Is what most people do.
A lot of Americans or just people in general, you know what
Which
I mean?
is so scary because then you're taking all these drugs and then they create more problems and then they just throw more
Well,
drugs at you.
it's
not
all a
fixing any
monopoly.
problem.
Exactly. And
Right.
that's how we treat people today, right? What else do? We don't tell clients, your doctor's not telling you, if you were following a chart similar to this will blow your mind. So I had an event coming up and I thought while people were waiting, they could read about their vitamins and minerals and what was healthy for what disease. This is the chart.
Wow.
Wow.
Wait, I'm not done.
Can anybody get a
huge.
hold of this chart?
You can order this chart online.
Okay.
And I'm going to just read like one of the things to you. So it breaks down all the vitamins, what they do, how it's best taken. And you're not going to see like IV infusion on here. 'Cause
Right,
This
right.
was intended. This is, I think it's a couple years old, but it's intended for you to eat these vitamins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat these foods that have these vitamins. If I ate all the foods on here to get all my vitamins, I am going to be 200 pounds by the end of the month.
Right.
Because there's so many different foods that you have to get different types of vitamins in and the amounts. And I don't know about how much time you got, but I can't calculate all the amounts I need in all these foods.
Right.
Right? So that's a problem. But this chart also has this great section. So like it tells you, let's say you get bladder infections all the time, right? It tells you beta carotene, calcium, magnesium, potassium, vitamin A, vitamin B complex, vitamin C, vitamin E, and zinc. Okay. Then it tells you how much of each you need. Then you go through this chart and you figure out all the stuff you need to eat to get all that in.
Oh, I love that.
Fascinating.
I love it, but how about this? Then you're buying those foods. So you're buying eggplant and you're buying, give me some foods that you don't normally eat that you know are healthy, right? Eggplant might be the only one on here that has a certain thing. Carrots. I don't do well with carrots.
Okay.
You got to have beta carotene, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, and then I'm going to buy the carrots. I'm going to buy about $100 worth of groceries by the time I'm done here.
Yeah.
And am I going to eat those for the week?
Probably not.
What happens is my eggplant goes bad by the time I get to that. Like, it's just so complicated to me. And I'm like, oh, it's not. Most people are similar to me. It's overwhelming, too much. I ain't got time. I can help you with that. That's where your IV infusion comes in, right? So I have 7 out of these 9 things I listed to you that we can put in that bag I just gave you, which is now empty. So in a half hour, I can give you all the things you need, not just for bladder infection, but if you go through this whole list, prostate cancer, osteoporosis, muscle cramps, fractures, like injuries, strength building, if you work out, I can get, it's a lot of these vitamins are in the same, like I can give the same bag for a lot of these things.
Okay.
And so for me, when I found this, I was like, oh my God, I would so call an IV nurse and have her come over and do an infusion on me once a week.
Yeah.
And pay that $100 to $200, which is nothing compared to what I'd spend on vitamins, my groceries, my time, and my energy.
100%.
Right.
Okay.
Or a doctor visit bill.
So yeah. So here's the other thing. We treat patients, I would say 70, maybe 80% of my patients are over 60. And what I'm treating basically my whole day is congestive heart failure, cardiovascular disease, COPD, all the conditions that we find out after we have them, right? So what can we do to prevent the conditions? Because medicine now, how we treat things is once you have the condition.
Right.
I don't want to be told that I have heart disease and I can't do anything about it.
Right. What's like
I either have to have a stent put in or I need open heart surgery. What can I do now before I get to 80 so that my doctor doesn't sit me down and tell me you have a 70% ejection fraction? Because I can't fix that. How do I keep my ejection fraction that has blood throwing through my veins at 100% now? Right?
Right.
So
Vitamins.
I'm going to introduce you
Vitamins.
to the world of NAD.
I want to talk about this so bad because I've heard such great things
This is
about
like,
this.
I've been hearing, I'll watch the Kardashians every once in a
She's
while.
a celebrity person.
So
No, they're not doing NAD, are they?
they did like years ago. I've seen it on there. They're like, "Can I overdose on NAD because I'll take this all day, every day?" Like I've seen that, and then I was like kind of curious. I was like, "Oh, I wonder what it is." Blah blah blah, and I started kind of like doing a little bit of research. But then obviously
It's blown up now.
it's blown up now because it hasn't been FDA approved here, correct? Well, now it is. Now it is, but it just did
It
like
hadn't been. In California, we have such strict regulations that it took a lot longer to get here.
Got it.
You could go to LA and Vegas and get it 4 years ago, right?
Right.
okay.
The movie stars were getting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They've been getting it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But we don't have doctors that are ordering NAD. I guarantee you, I bet 50%, if you ask your doctor about NAD, mine didn't even know what it was. I asked him if it was safe for me to get NAD, and he was like, what's NAD?
They don't know what it is, or they don't want you to know what it is.
They don't know what we're talking about because it was never.
That's wild.
NAD is in your body, and it's
we
something we
naturally
learned
make-
in chemistry, right? So if you're a nursing student, medical student, I don't remember hearing NAD. That was 35 years ago when I had chemistry.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a home health nurse. I'm an ICU nurse. We don't deal with NAD. NAD is intracellular. It's what makes your body anti-age. It's what makes your body. This is for biochemists. They would know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Any chemist, any biomedicine type person would know what NAD, but your general person, you could ask almost any nurse and they might be like, I don't know, it sounds like something I learned in chemistry, right?
Yeah.
This is a new concept. We have figured out a way to give you something your body depletes on a daily basis. And this is a major breakthrough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
So fascinating.
it is
Okay, so
fascinating.
tell us the book you're holding. What is it called, and where can we get it?
Okay, so you can buy this online. It's Unlock the Power of NAD. It's a healing Bible.
We need that.
You should get this.
And the other one.
But
Yeah.
everybody
And that
should
Matt.
read it, and if you want me to loan you mine, I can, so you can read. It's a pretty quick read. I mean, it's overwhelming. I think it was for me, even as a nurse. There's a lot of chemistry that's involved in it, but you get the point when you read through it all.
Yeah.
And it's almost like what NAD does, you can say in a couple pages, right? It basically decreases your aging. So why are you aging? What are all the different things that happen in your body that cause you to age, that cause dementia, that break down your veins and vessels? Every single one of these things, NAD is the answer, because as we lose our NADH levels go up. You need NAD to match those NADH levels. And when they're in sync, you're healthy and you're thriving and you're youthful. And so as we age, you get this happening.
Right.
So put your NAD back.
So is it
and I can do
okay
that for
to
you.
start like at a younger age doing this? Like
You
is that-
want to start it as early as possible.
and then you
because-
offer an injection and an infusion, correct?
Yes, we do both. You
What's
can,
the most effective way?
so most of the studies done on NAD have been studied doing IV infusion.
Okay.
Okay. And you can ramp up doses a little better by doing IV infusion because you'll feel it.
Yeah.
You will feel it
Instantly?
instantly. Like you're not going to feel like beautiful and like you want to run out of the
Glowing.
room and go jump and do a marathon.
Okay.
You're going to feel it internally. You just feel something.
Okay.
And I'm speaking from knowledge because I've had NAD. I've had some injections.
Okay.
Because 3-hour infusions takes a long time. And
Yeah.
so we haven't really had time to sit down and do the infusions. I have to have another mobile nurse do that to me. So her and I both still work full time. It's kind of hard, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But so I did the injections.
Okay.
And I felt it immediately. It was
So
like,
why is
wow,
the
like-
infusion 3 hours?
because it's going straight into your bloodstream. Whereas
Okay.
when you do the injection, it's slowly absorbed through your muscle into
Yeah.
your bloodstream. So I'm giving it anything we give IV, you're getting it. As soon as it hits that vein, you're getting it.
Right. It's literally
We have no
running
absorption
through your
time.
veins.
We have it's through her whole body and within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So you're feeling it, you
Right.
feel, and it's an interesting sensation, but some people can get some anxiety, like they feel anxious, and you want to be able to slow that down.
Got it.
So if I'm giving you the infusion and you're like, oh, I do feel it, and everything's good, that's great. But if you start feeling like really anxious, or you're like, I don't know, Wanda, it's too much for me, like it's overwhelming, we just turn the rate down. That's the only way
Yeah.
you know you're getting it too fast.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Right? So we have control over it.
Yeah.
And you start at a low dose at like 125 and you ramp up every time you get an infusion. So your first one's only 125 milligrams. You can have up to 1,000 milligrams a month, no more.
Oh, we need to work up to that.
So how often do you
So you can
recommend doing it?
You can do a lot of different things. So you can do maybe an IV infusion once a week and do one injection. And then by the time you're ramped up to 500 via the IV, you could do a 250 injection, and then next week another 250 injection. So it seems like a lot at first when you start out, but by the time you know what your dose is and what works for you, we would just have you on a set schedule. So you'd have your IV 1 day a month or 2, depending on what you like better, and you might get 2 shots a month or 3.
And what are some of the benefits people are seeing from the NAD? Like, what are the key benefits that a lot of people are wanting to get from this, and something that the NAD infusion or injection can provide somebody? Like, we talked about how your natural NAD levels go down, so we need to like bring them back up. But what happens when we do bring them back up?
Okay. I'm going to read you a few things.
Okay.
But do you know what NAD stands for?
I don't.
And I love when people ask me this. This is what I have to memorize. It stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide.
Yeah, still it's nothing.
Right?
I got nothing.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Right?
mean anything to me.
That's what I'm talking about, though. There's so much chemistry
It's
involved in
complex.
this.
Yeah.
Therefore, they wrote this whole book just based on NAD.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess let's just talk. I mean, I can go through this whole book. So every chapter is something about what it does for each system of your body. So
Oh, cool.
declining with age, right? Deficiencies in your body, boosting energy and resilience, enhancing recovery, right? Preventing diseases from like attacking you. Reducing visible signs of aging. So for those that are wanting the clearer skin, less wrinkles, more that hydration to the skin, like all that. that benefits that too. For me, the memory and clarity is what I'm looking for.
So
Brain
cognitive
function.
health.
Cognitive. So they're saying it's preventing dementia and Alzheimer's.
Amazing.
And if it doesn't decline it, I'm sorry, if it doesn't prevent it, it can decline it.
Awesome.
So it's putting it off at a later age. I'd rather have you tell me I have dementia if I'm 90 than if I'm 70.
Oh, 100%.
Right? So what can I do for that to happen? It's a neuroprotective agent, so it's protecting all your neurons. So if you're prone to maybe down the road getting some kind of neurological disease, it's going to help prevent that from happening. That's what these studies have shown.
Okay.
It is immunity, pain management, metabolism. It helps with metabolic health. So all these IVs I'm giving, you could ask me to have 3 or 4 IVs a month, but you could get it all out of NAD. That's my belief.
Okay.
Except for the hydration.
Got
But
it.
when we do NAD, when we do the infusions, we mix it with hydration. So you could say, Wanda, I really feel like I want the hydration as well as NAD, and I would just run it in a bigger bag of fluid.
Got
So I have control over that. Or you're not getting the actual vitamins, so you might want a vitamin bag once a month, but you're getting all the stuff that you need to prevent needing all those vitamins.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
It is more expensive, and that's why,
Right.
right? Because it's preventing you from needing all those things, right?
Right.
And I only read you half. I mean, it's a building block.
Yeah.
It's a building block for your body to be able to maintain and stay healthy.
Okay.
Right? In all aspects of your body. The other big one that I think 90% of America has now is gut health and problems.
Right.
Inflammation in the gut.
I feel like that comes from our shitty food
It does.
or lack thereof food.
It does.
I guess you can't say it's really food.
But look at the food and look at the preservatives on our food
Oh,
and the
it's
ingredients
terrible.
compared to Europe.
It's awful.
Right? They have 7 ingredients in this granola, that box of
and
granola.
we have like
40.
36.
We have 36.
It's stupid.
Why do we have all that stuff in our food?
Because they want a longer shelf life so that they can it's just disgusting.
Well, and they want us sick so then they can feed us with the pills.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
and they could prescribe us the drugs to quote unquote fix us.
And then Pharmerica is
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
all their money.
It's terrible.
And here we sit unhealthy while they make money off us.
exactly.
And we need to stop doing that. And we need to be proactive in our health. And this is one of those solutions, these IVs, this intracellular health. This doctor that wrote the vitamin book, him and his wife, who's a nurse practitioner, they actually run an entire clinic off intracellular health.
Wow.
They do the semaglutides,
I love
the
that.
NAD, the IV infusion. It's in Rhode Island. I would love to have that here in Vacaville at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where everyone's going to our clinic instead of going to the MOB or the urgent cares because this is going wrong with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they've been coming to our clinic for 10 years, so they don't have to go to the ER. They don't have to go to the, I mean,
think it's all
emergency
based on
medicine was set up to
education.
manage emergencies. Who's in the emergency room now?
Everybody.
It's not
Literally like I have a cough, I'm going to the emergency room. It's crazy.
immunities, right?
Yeah.
Or you're just not healthy. And so everything starts breaking down. So you're having chest pain from cardio disease. You're having lower high blood sugars because of diabetes. You're having, why don't we start working on preventing
Or
that?
you just have no common sense.
Yeah, that too. But
There's not much you could do about that.
my girlfriend's really big on getting these insurance companies to start paying for interest, pay for this type of healthcare
Right.
versus paying for me to have my medications and my copays and my deductible.
Yeah.
Like put some of my money out of that pot that I pay every month for my benefits to me doing what I want to do for my health. The gym membership,
Yeah.
the IV infusions, the vitamins, the minerals.
Preach.
Amen.
Right?
Yes.
So this is the direction we're heading. This is where we want to go. But NAD is a big catalyst in getting there. It improves sleep. Oh, I was talking about gut health. So even I have a family member who's suffering with that. This is supposed to prevent inflammation in your gut and help with those things. So
Nice.
I can't move to Europe and eat their food. I live here. My
would be
grandkids are here. My family's here. I'm
Yeah.
not going to just up and jump because I need to eat better and I need better food. So we're kind of stuck with what we have. So how can we make it better? What can we do to try to prevent the effects of that. And so
Right.
NAD is one of those
Sign me and Amber
solutions
up.
and answers.
Yes.
You got a monthly membership?
Literally, a monthly membership might be a thing.
So we have monthly memberships.
Okay.
So once you call me and we sit down and we figure out what you need, then we put you on a monthly membership. Because
Okay.
if you're just doing these one-offs, and I encourage anybody who wants IV infusions, let's talk about the year, or let's talk about 6 months or 3 months. I'm not saying you have to pay me for a year, because things change, life changes. I hate when I got to join a gym for 1 year, you know?
When you're locked in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not intending to go for the year, but things come up in life, and then you're stuck paying that monthly membership, right?
Right.
I would prefer you paying for like a couple months up front, but let's do a 1-year plan, right? And
Yeah.
if you change your mind, fine. But at least in your mind, you know what your health is going to look like for the year and what you want, and we can build that up. Right. Let's say you're, during the flu season, plan on having 1 or 2 immunity bags, right? You need your vitamin C, you need glutathione and liver detox and all that.
Yeah.
But want to do the NAD? Let's plan that out. Once we get you ramped up, what does that look like? And then you'd know cost up front, right? You'd know how much it's going to cost you, what your needs are, and what you want. And that's what I love about doing what I do and being a nurse and having that background. Because I can sit down with you and we can figure that out.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that online. And you're not going to get that at a lot of the places that are offering this service.
Right.
They're offering it because I heard about it in Vegas and LA, and the Kardashians are doing it, and I want it. And they're
Right.
like, okay, here you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An easy, stupid sale.
Yeah.
But I was genuinely
People
curious.
are
It
paying
made me, say,
stupid
prime
money
example,
for it.
me. I was genuinely curious just from her hearing it on the show. I'm like, what is that?
Right.
Well, and because they have so much money, they have these like wellness rooms with like
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
We'll get there.
pods.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
It's all going to start with our NAD infusions. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. I
So
love that.
that's the hard part. So I just want to mention for me, it's finances.
Yeah.
We live in a county that we all work very hard. Should I say blue collar workers? Like we're really hardworking blue collar workers.
Right.
We don't have the luxury of a bank account with $50,000-$60,000 sitting in it that we can just use on our health.
Right.
We struggle to pay our gym memberships. I struggle, right?
Yeah.
I joined yoga. I had to quit my other gym so I could still have Planet Fitness to be able to do both types of workout that I want.
Right.
Right? I like to look nice for my patients, so I do have to do my hair, get my hair colored. I can't be having this gray root, so I got to go to Aaliyah and get my color, my tint, right?
Yeah.
I need my nails kind of done because
You're working with your hands.
yeah, and I've been washing and using alcohol rubs for 35 years, and my nails are brittle, so I
Yeah.
protect them. That costs, so just for me to be able to maintain my lifestyle and do some of these things, okay, now where do I save money? How do I pay off my house? How do I pay
Right.
all my bills?
Right.
How do I go on a dang vacation?
Yeah.
So when you're looking at NAD and the price of it, you have to factor all this in.
Yeah.
And same with hair extensions. I know you guys probably hear what I do. Oh my God, that costs so much.
Yeah. Totally. But everyone
Yeah.
values things differently. So if you value your health, there you go.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be a
Exactly.
problem.
This isn't a fad.
Right.
This is something you're going to want for your life and for your health and to be there. Have you guys ever read Simon Sinek's book, Why? What is your why?
I have read half of it a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they always tell you to know your why when you go into business, when you do anything, right? And before I started my consulting business, I was going to do everything by the books. I'm going to have a business plan. I'm going to have the mission statement, the vision, the goal.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says to do is first you got to know your why or your business will never be successful.
Right.
My why was my kids are going to have grandkids and I want to be able to take them grandkids places. I want to be able to spend time with them.
Yeah.
How do you work full time and spend time with your grandkids, right? And as my son starts having these kids and I'm getting them here and there a weeknight or a weekend, I'm not able to spend the time with them that I would like. I want to be available. I may not need to spend time with them as much as I want to.
Right.
But if their mom calls me and says, hey, I need help today, I want to be able to go bring them here
Absolutely.
or I'll be there, right? I can't do that when I work full time.
Right.
So I was like, what can I do right? To maybe increase my income a little, but help others
Right.
so it'll be successful and I feel passionate still about what I do.
Yeah.
That can afford me the lifestyle to do
Well,
that.
not only that, it's be healthy enough to chase those little ones around.
Right.
And then there's that.
Do fun things with them. Yeah. Instead
you
of
know
just.
what? I don't think about myself a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about that until I'm hitting this part of my life.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm like, wow, I don't run after him as good as I did. Right?
Right.
So perfect example is Caden and I signed up for the Rio Vista Turkey Trot.
Cute.
Okay. I've been taking him on runs since as soon as he could walk. He was kind of in a stroller when we did our first turkey trot, and I'd get him out. He'd run a little bit, put him back in.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is like his fourth run, but I kind of try to pace it and keep up with him.
Yeah.
And we've done virtual runs during COVID.
Oh, cool.
Like he'd want the skateboard medal, so we'd find a race that had a skateboard medal, and so him and I would virtually do the run. But it would be like one day he wanted to take a scooter. I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So
He's
he
still
would
moving.
Scoot, yeah,
Yeah.
he's out there being active, and I just love the fact that he wanted to go do it. And it was something him and I had special.
Yeah.
His mom and dad aren't doing runs. His auntie's not doing runs. Like I felt that was my thing with him. And so anyway, so I signed up for this last turkey trot, and my son says to me, Mom, he's in a lot better shape than he used to be because he's into wrestling and football. And I'm like, whatever. I know I'm still going to have to slow down
Yeah.
because I don't want to beat him, right? You don't
Right.
do that to your grandchildren. So we take off at this race, and he's gone. He's
Oh
like
my
down the
gosh.
street, around the corner, and I'm like just hitting the corner going,
Yeah.
oh God. And I'm thinking, oh, he's going to pay for it. He's sprinting. He's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
be sorry, right? And I get to the other corner and I can't even see him anymore.
Oh my God.
Like this 7-year-old is gone, right? And I'm thinking, oh, he's going to be sitting on the curb waiting
Yeah.
for grandma,
Yeah.
at that first mile. It's 3 miles.
Yeah.
And I get around the first, and I'm not seeing the kid. And I'm just, and now I'm freaking out. Like, did he
Yeah.
go down the wrong street?
Oh
Because
my
Rio
God,
Vista
so
didn't.
scary.
They didn't have everything blocked off really well. So I'm thinking I lost him, right? No, he's still running.
Oh my gosh, that's
gosh.
amazing.
He's still running. I'm going to shut that down.
Okay.
So he's still running. Just so it doesn't pull my butt. This is just because
Yeah, it's fine.
pulling back from the fluid. So he's still running. Anyway, long story short, I get to the 2.5 mile and I finally see him, and he's still kind of running, and I'm like, oh God, like I'm dying.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to catch up with him, so I'm sprinting and I'm running out of breath.
Right.
And I finally catch up to him, and I'm thinking, okay, at least we're going to be close, crossing the finish line.
Yeah.
He waits till we almost get to the corner, and he takes off again.
Stop.
And I'm thinking, oh, hell no. And so I try, ain't got it in me.
Right.
Yeah.
That last block was my reality. Mm-hmm. My reality. My 7-year-old just kicked my butt in a 5K.
Yeah.
I used to run circles around him, and I wanted to be the grandma that still does.
Yeah.
Right.
So I will still run circles around him.
And get NAD as well.
Yes,
NAD
but I need a
infusions.
little help now because I wasn't your
Yeah.
age where I could start it and prevent that.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean, we all age.
Fascinating.
If you can't afford an AD or you don't feel like that's your thing, that's fine too. But for those of us who, want to do something different about our health and not be diagnosed later on and go, God, I wish I would have done the NAD and I wish I would have
Yeah.
done intercellular health.
yeah.
Don't be that person, right?
Do your research.
Don't
be more
wait till
mindful.
It's too late.
Call, let's say, Aaliyah, I really want to try extensions, let's say. And I call her and she tells me, oh, well, it's like $800. And I'm like, oh my God. I could always say to her, how about, could we do it for this much? What else could we work out?
Yeah.
Normally people don't do that. When people are offering a service, you want to pay them. But if you really want to try it and you can pay, a substantial amount of the total amount, it doesn't hurt to ask somebody to work something out with you.
Yeah.
right?
There's always something we could figure out too.
Yeah.
Which you're right. People aren't really, they don't think it's an option, or maybe they feel too embarrassed to ask or something. But
Right.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if they're going to be return customers, you're going to have the business.
Oh, yeah.
So I always tell people, if it doesn't, I get a lot of people calling off my Instagram and just texting me. They don't want me to know who they are. And they're like, hey, what do you offer for, I haven't been feeling well. And I'll tell them and the price. And they're like, okay, well, maybe another time. And it's like, I don't want to say, just call me. Let's work through it.
Right.
Like, can you afford 100 instead of 200? Can you afford maybe paying 2 payments so you can get this and feel what it does for you?
Right.
I'm not about the money. I'm about you feeling better and wanting to try this.
Right.
I love that.
That's amazing.
So what do you see for the future of Infusion Health and Wellness?
The bus and the marathon runners.
Yes. I love that.
You know what I would love is for you guys to see me driving around town and my
Wanda, stop! Like the ice cream truck.
yeah, like there she goes. I want to be visible. And I want mobile IV infusion to be a thing.
I love that.
I don't want you to have to go to a salon. I come to your house, but it'd be cool to have a van too. So if people don't want you in their house or feel like I don't feel like cleaning,
just come on out.
Just come out to the van. We'll do it there. Get the music going. And, that'd be cool.
I love that.
Easy.
I'd like a team of nurses working under me so I could focus more on just the marketing side of the business and having them doing all the infusions and the education.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's
kind of
great.
stuff.
I love that. You're amazing.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
I feel like
for
you filled
coming
my
on.
brain with so much information.
I know. I feel like this was so good.
And
for
people
so
are going to
many
love
people.
this.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
I was so honored when Aaliyah called and she's like, we want you to be our guest speaker. I was like, no way.
Oh, yeah. You're so full of
I
information.
respect you guys so much and appreciate showing me the way that you can be a successful business owner.
Yeah,
That
of
it
course.
isn't easy, but you just keep getting up and doing it day
Yes.
after day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the hurdles and the,
I feel like it's the consistent hard/boring stuff that gets you there.
For
Just
sure.
the consistency. So where can people find you if they want to book a service with you? Do they go to your Instagram? Are you on Facebook? How do people get a hold of you?
So everything's on Instagram. If you go to my Instagram site, when you open up my link, there's my phone number. Just call me. That's
And it's
the
under
easiest way.
at Infusion Health and Wellness, correct?
Yes, and the Instagram is infusion_health and wellness, one word.
Okay.
You can do it that way. I have a website, so you can go on the website as well. You can call Aaliyah or Amber, and they can give you my number in case you can't find me.
Yes.
Or you can also go on Hydrate. It's HYDREIGHT and type in Vacaville, and I will come up. I'm the only mobile infusion nurse in Solano County right now.
Vacaville. Yeah,
Woohoo!
that's amazing. Good
And
for you.
we'll also tag her in this video, so
Yes.
be on the lookout for that.
Yes. So comment on this video and let us know if you learned anything or what your favorite part was, and like and subscribe.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Thank you.